It's currently raining outside and I'm waiting to go take a walk. But in the meantime, alright, so this one's about kind of the digital world and the physical world. Just kind of wrapping my head around explaining to you about the ideas of living physically and digitally, because now we're getting to more and more to the point where the internet is kind of taking over as the base reality. The more people live in, say, a town, the more it develops. The more people live in a house, the more it develops. The more people live in a forest, in an internet community, on the internet, in physical reality, these things develop more and more, and they pick up more weight. What happens when they pick up more weight is you can do more things, but they start to become more heavier, more dense. I think the internet's gotten very heavy. It's gotten very, there's a lot of things you can do on it, to the point where, people used to listen to the radio, watch TV to relax, and I think now we're getting to the point where the internet, you use physical reality to relax from the internet. The internet's so complicated and intense that I feel like I have to go outside and just sit and just, breathe and be a part of the trees and the grass and such to really relax from it, or to go and cook something, or it's almost to the point where physical reality is hard if you aren't used to it, and then it gets easier and easier. It's still kind of difficult. It's because it's physical. Physical objects are more, you have to manipulate them with your strength and skill, dexterity and strength. While digital objects, programs and such, you have to manipulate with your intelligence, usually. Of course, there is a skill and experience to that as well. So we have these two worlds, and I don't know about you, but my life, I've always had this thing in my life where I've wanted to be able to do anything. I want to be able to do anything I want on the internet and in reality. And of course, that is difficult. There are a lot of things that I can't do currently, just because I'm not strong enough, because I'm not, experienced enough as a person, because I don't have the resources, etc. On the internet, because I don't have quite the intelligence. If I wanted to make some amazing game, I'd need to learn how to do that. So yeah, if I wanted to, in reality, make a whole lot of money, I would need to, again, learn how to do that and really put in the effort. So we're restricted by ourselves, and to some extent the reality itself, the internet, or the physical world. For example, if you don't have the correct wood, you can't make the correct instrument, things like that. But I've always been interested in absolute manipulation of everything around me, to the point where I can just think something into existence. That's why magic interests me as a kid, and fantasy and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually I found that there is some truth to it. Magic, essentially the manipulation of what I call ether, not the formless, shapeless ether, but the energetic stimulation of the ether, I guess, in this context. Essentially that glowing stuff that appears when you think really hard in a space, or you feel really hard and you conceive something. But this video isn't really about magic. Now, when you are in the physical world, or doing something which is relaxing, your energy goes downward towards the root, essentially towards your asshole. When you are doing something stimulating, or on the computer, you are doing something which is, I believe, yang, so the opposite is yin. This one is yang, which makes energy go up towards the top of your head. If you sleep on your right side, the energy goes down, it's yin. If you sleep on the left side, it goes up. That's why you get weird dreams when you sleep on the left side. Similarly, if you sleep on your back, I believe that is also yang. And if you sleep on your front, that is yin. That is absolute yin, by the way, sleeping in the front. And sleeping on the back is absolute yang, or pure yang. So that means when we are in physical reality, we are enhancing our physical abilities. We are enhancing our abilities to get physical resources. We're enhancing our body. We're enhancing our ability to, you know, manipulate wood, stone, talk to people to some extent. People are kind of in the middle of this polarity. They're socializing, all that kind of stuff. Now, of course, in reality, we need to use both computers and physical reality. Some people use just one or the other, as in they make their whole life about that. Some people don't have a computer, they don't have a phone, they don't have a TV or any of those things. Now, of course, a computer or the internet is just a external device of the mind, external imagination, so to speak. We have an internet. Currently, you are connected internally, mentally, with everything and everyone. Of course, there are, you know, speed differences, and some people might block you mentally and such, but you are connected. If you think about your mother, say, for example, or a friend, maybe a wife or a husband, if you think about them, they are probably thinking about you. I call this the internet. And then physical, what do you call it? Computers and such, this is all just a replication technology. So eventually we will get it to the point where it's like computers, kind of like you're dreaming, where if you know, the whole Facebook metaverse is getting a bit popular, and I think it's good. I think, you know, it's good. Everyone's talking about, oh, it's enter the pod, oh, it's so bad, but we will scrap their code. We will take the Facebook code and create our own metaverse, create our own Web 3.0, I believe is the word, which is a new internet that's coming. I think the next level of the internet is going to be very dreamlike. If I think about, I want to make money, I want to learn how to make money, and I want an opportunity, then the internet is going to reflect back, the magical watery portal is going to reflect back, the crystal ball, a website or a space or some kind of opportunity. It's going to give me articles, it's going to give me videos back, and it'll take in brain patterns. So you might wear a little helmet or have a brace around the neck or something like that, take in brain waves, and it'll show me this. Then I think, I want to relax, and then it'll start playing some relaxing music, and in the three-dimensional VR space, it'll show me a nice darkly lit dark room. It's nice and purplish. I'm in a bed, I'm in a, you know, maybe there's stars around me, or there's a beach and there's a little campfire. Very nice relaxing things, right? If anyone's seen that Microsoft three-dimensional operating system, which I can't find videos on anymore because YouTube is so saturated, the algorithm, it just gives you trash if you search for things. There was this three-dimensional operating system where you'd walk around and you'd open Notepad. Notepad would be like a book, or you'd open Paint, and Paint would be like a little picture that you click on a table. And I think this was 20 years ago they had this three-dimensional operating system. And then maybe you'd open, you know, you'd see a little computer and it'd open like the disk drives of it or something. Basically, it was a three-dimensional operating system where you open 3D objects instead of clicking two-dimensional things or typing stuff. Now, there are positives and negatives to this, of course, but anyway, that's kind of where things are heading more and more so. And of course, you have the choice to do that if you want. Some computer nerds still like to use text interface. Text interfaces, like in a lot of Linux GNU operating systems. Now, the things that I've been thinking about is that I'm actually starting to enjoy physical reality. I never really understood the Gen X and Boomers, how they would always be off at a cafe or at a gym or somewhere, or at a library. I think if I didn't have the computer, and if the computer didn't exist, I would probably be at a library. And I would try to read books. I'm not very good at reading books. I would try to read books. And I would probably just be distracted trying to find a cute library girl there. And then I would walk out recognizing that maybe I'm not so book-like, but I'm still for some reason attracted to the library and attracted to words, And maybe if I have to read the books with the pictures, it's okay. I have to get someone to, explain things to me. But ultimately my heart is always in, in artistic things and art, in the beauty of things. I like the beauty of the book, maybe, instead of, I like talking about it. I like the social experience. I want to talk to a cute girl with glasses about whatever she's reading. I don't want to read it, I just want to talk about it. And that's what I'd do. And I'd walk around, and I'd probably try to find some kind of work outside there. And I'd walk in the sun. It's nice and warm outside. The air smells kind of, I don't want to say smoky, but if you took out the carbon of smoke, it smells like that like a warm, crispy oil of a plant in a way. And I'd enjoy physical reality. Now, of course, because computers exist, I'm enslaved to a... No, I'm joking. I'm not enslaved. I don't know. I think the younger I have been, the more enslaved I have been to a computer. And the older I get, the more I can exist in physical reality, because the more my body develops. It's exhausting to craft and make things if you're not used to it. It's exhausting to walk around in physical reality and talk to people. It is also exhausting to do it on a computer, but it is more comfortable because it's in the comfort of your own home. But before computers, people lived outside. They would go to, the shopping area and talk to each other. They would go to each other's house. They would go to some parts of the street, a pub, a cafe. They would meet up at the gym and exercise. And people, of course, they lived their own lives, but they would talk to others there. It was more, it's kind of like, it's like, when you got to bust a nut, people had to talk. They had that pressure on their throats where they needed to express. Now people have that with the phone, or a computer. They express it on that, right? So they don't have to use people to talk to anymore. They do, but it's through a telepathic device which lets you do anything anywhere, so to speak. But anyway, so I think physical reality is going to get somewhat more. I think there will be a split where some people do enter the pod, quote unquote. They get entrapped by a mental reality, but I think we give it too much stock. I don't know about you, but I have trouble playing a fucking video game. Like I play one for like half an hour, and I'm like, it's kind of boring. I want to, I don't know, do something else, So if I can't even do that, I don't know how most people are going to get trapped in this, virtual escape. But maybe people are different. Maybe I'm just different to a lot of people. A lot of people, they sit there on their beds or couches or whatever, on their phones all day, or on their like PlayStation all day, and that's what some people do. But I don't know. I think that's just being young. Like, I have a lot more hope. I have a lot more I almost think that it is nihilism or something that stops this, as in eventually the dread of reality slips in. You're in the pod, it's nice and warm, you're in the amniotic fluid, just like, in absolute pleasure. It's the same as if you're asleep. You're in the cozy warm bed, and eventually you feel like you need a pee. Eventually there's this uncomfortable pressure within you, and you can just relax and let it flow through you and open up the circulation more, and then you can continue sleeping. But every so often the dread keeps coming in, and it comes in more and more, and then you have to realize certain things. You have to realize that you've given up something, that you're not taking advantage of what you could, that there is a world out there for you to conquer. So the physical world is yin, but you need to use the yang elements to conquer it. You need to walk around, you need to make some noise, talk to people, aggress, initiate, destroy objects, to craft them into something. While the the yang world, which is the internet, you need yin, you need intelligence, you need patience, you need to be slow. I still can't see this anything more than a cycle, as in, it'd be nice to sleep all day. Sometimes I wish I could, for restoration reasons, to develop my body quicker. It's kind of like people being grown in pods till they're full maturity. I'd like to do that. Just go in a pod until I'm fully grown, come out in like half a year or whatever, and then I'm just I'm all good. I'm all good, ready to conquer the world. That'd be nice, but I think that the nature, that the Tao, the force of nature is too strong. That people can't resist the forces of nature yet. They can try, but eventually they'll want to come out of this hallucination. The same way that people who are in physical reality eventually want some kind of little fantasy. They want to go over to another country for a holiday, take a trip. They're taking a trip internally and externally. The same way that eventually they want to collapse and watch TV and just laze around all day on social media or something after their work. Everything runs in cycles, but I guess the main thing I wanted to kind of give you as an internal experience was that if you're on the internet, a lot of your energy is going up. If you're out in the physical world, a lot of it's going down. So what do you want to develop? Do you want to develop your physical world, your physical self, or do you want to develop your internal, your non-physical self, your spiritual self? You have to do them both to some extent, but what do you want to work on more? Just think about that and just try to feel it out and try to notice what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's all. Of course, feel free to comment down below or check the description for my email. If you want to have any divination, astrology readings, check my Fiverr. If you want to buy some books or some music albums, check my Gumroad. And of course, if you want to donate, feel free. I've got a Bitcoin and I've got a Subscribe Star. Otherwise, have a nice day, and I hope you enjoyed.